Rob here, Kick-Ass Garage. We are working on the Porsche. It's running, but as soon as you hit the gas, it dies. So these are one of those things that somebody was done with it, and they're like, this is a nightmare, I don't know what to do. That's where I come in. Nightmare car. Diagnosing. Tips are just the way I do it. Let's get to it.
Yo, a good shepherd get life to the sheep, fleece nice, but nah, he ain't nice underneath. Got a price on the leash, I don't trust when they speak. Be sounding real spiteful to me. Boy, I bleed with the best, got a peep with the eagle and downs. I done feed with the flesh, trying to smeagol the rain. She believe that I'm blessed, got a speed to the left. All of my clothes, I be eager to mesh, oh no.
Many of y'all may not know, but I am a master technician. Over the years, I've come up with my own kind of diagnosing, just the way I do it, right? So I went to college for automotive technology. I've worked at several dealerships, worked at Honda for probably about 15 years. Then I went into the performance shops, got into all kinds of headache cars that people had built and put together. So I formulated a way to diagnose cars that either have a bunch of crap on it or somebody swapped all kinds of things. That's kind of my specialty. I love doing that. So I look for cars that have crazy problems. I want the cars that are someone's headache, that they're like, oh, I tried to soup it up and blah, 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 blah. That's what I search out. So this one obviously was one of those cars. We'll get into my diagnosing tips, or just the way I do it, and I'll explain that kind of process, and we'll go along and you'll see what I do with using scan tools and just doing a visual inspection and all that. Okay, so we are in the Porsche. So kind of how I go through my diagnostic process is I talk to the customer, or in this case the person I bought the car from, find out what's going on with this car. So this car's history, from what I've gotten, the information I have gotten is, I think this was his father's car. He had drove in it and hit something in the road, or a hose went bad. If you look under the car, we'll talk about that later, you'll see where one of the coolant hoses went bad, so the head gasket went on the previous motor. Him and his son were going to put a motor in it. They bought a 2005 Cayman S motor, which is more horsepower, different engine. So I think his dad got impatient and just ended up having some shop put the engine in, and then they got it back. It runs, but as soon as you touch the gas, it dies. Alright, so that's all I know. First thing I said, I asked him if it had the same computers. He said no, it's got the older computer. So I know right away that that won't work because of the two different engines. It may start, which it does, and idle, which it does, because the air fuel ratio at idle for that two motors are probably exactly the same, or they are exactly the same. That being said, I know that that's going to be a problem. So I already researched the computers that are in here. They're the 99. I'm going to order the 2005 computers, which come with the key, the glove box latch, the door latch, everything that takes the key it comes with, all matched to the one computer because they're a mobilizer system. They pair the key to the car, so you can't start somebody else's computer without the key and all that. So instead of having it reprogrammed and all that jive, you can just go on eBay and buy all of it from one car that they ripped out. So luckily everything for this car is pretty cheap, because the parts that are on this are on like a million different Porsches. That's all we know. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna just go check some codes real quick, see what's going on inside the computer. Hooked up the scanner here, and this is a Auto scanner, which is quite nice. Go through, it's got literally every car on the planet. There we are, Porsche. And do this, go on to this. Should read the VIN number. We have a Boxster 99. Do our little fault scan right now. If y'all don't know this, German cars have modules, computers, whatever you want to call them. They have a lot. Compared to like a Japanese car that has maybe 10, or some older Japanese have like 3, 4, or just 1. This thing this probably has the least out of all because it's an older 99. But typically like BMW, Mercedes, they have like 100 plus sometimes, certain cars. There's a module for everything. There's a module for the speakers, the radio, everything. So you can flash the computer of these cars and one speaker won't work. Or you reflash it, then all the speakers work because there's a software program. There's a software program. Let's see what codes we got so far. driver's belt buckle. That's always one. That's usually SRS. There's usually a switch in this belt buckle to know that it's shut. That's usually why most of these older cars, the SRS lights are on. It's either that or the airbag module. Usually it's the switches for those seat belts. Cam out instrument cluster. Cam timeout. That's nothing. It's just it turning off. I do know because I've had the battery in and out. When I first had it, it had a transmission code for something. Then it had like another mass airflow code, and I was like, okay. So I cleared those out. They didn't come back. But the longer you run it and try to drive it, it'll throw all these codes. So really what's going on, from what I can see in there, it doesn't give me that much help. So it's more of, we got to go back to how you find problems like this. So let's go into the next stage of my diagnostic. So we've talked to the customer, which would be the guy who sold me the car, got the background of the car, looked over some stuff, figured out just by talking that we need the right control modules. The only reason it runs is because Porsche uses the same computer things for everything. What we're going to go on to now is I like to do a visual inspection of the entire car. This can save me a lot of time. This will save anybody a lot of time, and I'll tell you why. Cars are usually outside. Cars like this sit for a lot of times. And so a few things happen. Rodents and varmint and all kinds of little animals get up inside here and they'll chew your wires. And sometimes those are very easy fixes for people's nightmare problems. They just don't realize it because they think, oh, I put it in here and all I did this, I was running fine the other day, then oh gosh, oh, and then they panic and they do all kinds of stuff and start replacing parts instead of actually looking over everything. So looking over the car is very important. That's what we're going to do right now. So we're going to look over, see if anything looks out of place. Like if you look at cars, if they don't have many aftermarket cars, everything should look kind of orderly. There shouldn't be things missing. There shouldn't be bolts missing. There shouldn't be things, especially when you do a motor swap like this, when you're putting a motor that doesn't belong in this car. There's going to be stuff that might not be right? So that's what we're going to look for, and we're going to go down that road. Let's go back to the car here. Oh, hey. So I thought I'd start underneath the car. So just on initial inspection down here, I see this, which that's not supposed to be there. That is a fuel pressure regulator. Should not be there unless they were trying to modify something. I forgot to mention when I did talk with the guy, we'll see later, there's a fuel pressure gauge on the top of the motor attached to the fuel rail. What this car has, instead of the 99, so the 2005, they went to a returnless system. So most cars, they pump the fuel from the fuel tank to the engine, and it comes past the injectors, then it goes back into the fuel tank, whatever it uses. Now at these newer cars and certain cars, they do it where they can monitor the fuel pressure and maintain it different, and they don't need a return system, so it's called a returnless. This engine has the returnless system. The 99 does not have the returnless system, so that's why this fuel pressure regulator was installed on here. It's just, we're going to move that hanging down where it can get knocked off. That will be fixed. Fuel pressure regulator, we will change that, but that's why that is there. I think this is the hose they replaced. That will be changed because it hangs way too low. If you can see under the car here, no, that should not be hanging down that far. We're going to get the correct, or we're going to make the correct fitting that goes in there for that. Let me get a light so you can see it. So that's, no, that will be changed. That's not good. I get the idea what they had to make it work, but coming from being a technician, that's not going to work for me. That's not going to cut it. We're going to make something. Maybe it's the only option. Maybe I'll be screwed, but no, I think I can figure something out. So looking through here, everything looks to be okay. We got all the bolts for the manifold are in there, looking good. It's really not in bad shape, man. The motor's got 54,000. That's just a little seepage from the drain hole, but there's really no leaks. Typically, this is what Porsche looks like. If you're a Porsche tech or if you've been under many Porsches, it just looks like poopiness. They put some weird coating on it from the factory or something. Someone told me, I don't know, I'm not a Porsche expert, but I'm very well versed in Porsches, but they all look like crap. So the vapor blaster might
get at some of this. Not necessarily I'm not going to pull the engine. If I do pull the engine, maybe it will. But yeah, CV boots look okay. No leaks from those. Motor mount looked like it had kind of a crack in it. But yeah, I mean, there's definitely some stuff that can be honed on here. All that rusty stuff right there. Nothing else really sticks out down here besides the obvious. So we're gonna head up top. Hi. So here we are on top, looking down. And like I said before, it's got a returnless. So what they did, I guess the shop just left their gauge on the, or I don't know if this is the guy's gauge, on the system. So it would plug it, and I don't know. They couldn't find a cap, I guess. I'm not sure on that one. There's some vacuum lines that I did move this out of the way, and we did the old golf tee to stop the vacuum leak for the moment. So that was me. We will rerun all this stuff, but just looking over, because Porsche stays pretty much the same stuff. I can tell that there's some zip ties. You can tell people that don't really when they use the white zip ties. Come on, people. This is loose. So they kind of did that. Moving on. What I do notice is this kind of put me on to certain things, but you see this hole right here? It's just missing something. And then down below it, there's like a half covered hole. I don't know if y'all can see that. That shouldn't be like that. Porsche doesn't do stuff like that. Then looking around, you can see where there's like kind of a clean spot on the aluminum there where it should be covered up by something. And then get to looking, and I figured out that they put the 99 intake back on the top of the 2005 engine, right? So there's a difference in these intakes. Especially, it would make sense why it floods, or it feels like it floods. I happen to have one because I already ordered one. If you notice, this intake has two pipes. There is a special valve in here. So that right off the bat, let's go back over here and give it a better idea. Yeah. Yeah. That air delivery is not going to be the same, folks, so that's a huge problem. So we're going to put this intake that's got the dual thing. Maybe they couldn't fit it, right? Maybe that was the thing. Maybe they had to put that on there because this wouldn't fit. I don't know. We're going to figure it out because this is going to be a fun car. So I have already ran this stuff through the vapor hound. Look at that! I know, I got too excited, I couldn't wait. Even the fuel rail, look at that, it came out bang up. Yeah. Oh, did you do the injectors? I did do the injectors. Vapor hound knows. Oh my goodness, yeah. I got carried away. So that's all vapor hound. That's clean. Did the plastic, did everything. Like I said, throttle body looks brand new. Very good. Good stuff. So yeah, we're gonna get this intake off. Get that other intake on there because we've already figured out kind of that problem. I'm going to get the correct, so it needs the correct computer because it needs, I think it's the 6-speed that's in the 05, and this is only a 5-speed transmission computer or something like that. So we'll get the computers. Those are easy video. We're gonna get those. So I'm gonna order those on eBay. Those should be here in a few days. eBay is pretty awesome. For now, I'm gonna get the intake on there. Slap all that, see if there's anything else down in there that we might find, which I'm probably sure. Hopefully we don't. Hopefully it's just those. We slap the new intake, and the intake actually came with the whole new injector rails and all that, so we're going to throw all that on there, the correct parts. So this one should have a cap on the, yeah, look, so we don't need the gauge on there. It just needs a cap because it's a returnless, so it just comes in right there. Yeah, you. So we can get rid of this silly this jive. Yeah, so that's going to come all out, and if we have to cut to make that intake fit, we're going to do that. Hopefully we don't have to. I think it'll just fit in there. That's what we're going to do. Let's go ahead and pull that intake off.
We got the intake off. So, whenever worked on this, decided to not buy the few dollar rubber gaskets and put gasket sealer on the intake. Come on, people. That's when you know you take it to a shade tree mechanic, when they're putting gasket material on there, like squeezy gasket for the intake. Don't do that crap. That's just lazy. And then I guarantee you, just looking at all the stuff they did, they got this car out of their shop and got it down the road. Instead of telling the guy it's not going to work or whatever, or they don't have the right stuff, they just button it up and, oh, take it, we don't know what to do, it's going to be the program, you know. Those kind of places give technicians bad names. Anyways, we're going to go get the vacuum, because you can see all the dirt and nastiness down there from whenever Mr. Squirrel or whoever was up in there. I'm going to get this whole injector rails coming out of here. Yeah, see how dirt falls down into the cylinder? So we're going to have to vacuum. Oh, look, there's some gasket stuff right down in the cylinder. That's great. We're going to vacuum all that stuff out before anything gets knocked down into the engine. We're going to do that right now. All right, so we got that intake off. I want to show y'all how much different. Look at this. So this is the 99, right? And the motor that's in there is the 2000 something. Look at these reknobs. Tried to put this thing on there, right? Look at the size difference. Why would you even think that was going to work? Some people should not work on cars. Whoever put that together should not work on cars. Shouldn't. Just stop what you're doing. We're going to fix it. I got to go clean off the 8 pounds of gasket crap off the cylinder head. So, yeah. I can't believe that. Bunch of different airflow there. Why would you think that that would work? Alright. Alright, so on further inspection, I figured out that the new Dyson Vapor-owned throttle body has a different plug than the older one. The older one's got two different styles. It's got like a throttle position sensor and another air metering valve. So it's a different style. It looks like when they went from 99 all the way up to 2004, 2005 is when they changed this one. So it's not going to work. So what I need to do is I need to get the harness for 2005 and it'll plug in, because the harness pins are different. One's a 3-pin, one's a 6-pin. So I'm going to jump on eBay, find a Boxster S wiring harness, and I'm going to order the computer and the trans computer and the other stuff we need. And that should be it. And this thing should be rocking and rolling. Let me go do that and stay tuned. We are back on the Porsche here. When I mean we, I meant me and of course Rev. Okay, you're gonna help. So me and Rev are gonna clean this gasket stuff off on the Porsche intake that somebody gooped up. So go get the scraper.